Climbing back upon Mount Soapbox for another rant. No, we're not ranting about the Moonshiner update. I know I'm in the Moonshine Shack, but that's where we're going to start today because we're going to rant about the Naturalist role. So, where do we begin? Okay, so let's start off inside the bar of your Moonshine Shack for the Naturalist role. Now this, I guess you could say, is a prime example of how there's a lot of things in the Naturalist role that are pretty pointless. One of which is this new addition, the guest list, which is pointless. Why is it pointless, you ask? Because I could already do this. I could already invite people, friends, and randos to my bar by simply going left on the D-pad and then going to Camping Properties, going to the Moonshine Shack, and inviting the Moonshack. This has been in Moonshiner's update since the launch back in December 2019. In other words, the so-called guest list, which was added to the Naturalist role, is pointless. Sorry, ladies. Next, let's talk about the two new weapons. First off, the improved bow. Yes, you can customize the improved bow. And there's a skin that's several gold bars. I don't think it's worth it, but there's some other customization you can do for the improved bow. Now, the difference between, say, the improved bow and the regular bow, which I will show once I get to my horse, is not much. Not as dramatic as you would think for the price you pay. So, all right, so let's look at the regular bow. The regular bow, look very close to the accuracy. I have them both set on regular arrows, by the way. So, the main difference between these two is the regular bow has a little bit better accuracy than the improved bow. Now let's talk about the elephant gun. So I was attempting to use the elephant gun during my live stream on Tuesday when the Naturalist update dropped like a bomb. And I am pretty much overall disappointed in this pointless gun. For one thing, it seems to ruin the pelts of any animal you hunt. So, prime example, well, that's a 1-star. There is a positive, which we'll get out of the way because I'm not going to do a review because there's just too many cons to do a review on. But one of the temporary pros, if you will, is animal spawns actually a thing. And allegedly 250 bugs fixed in the game, even though people are still getting disconnects.
This is how you do proper gameplay. Look, this is great, man. This is one of the best stuff. You get disconnected. I think I'm gonna put that. It's just a great feature. I love when the fucking game disconnects. It's probably because I'm just such a normie. So the game says, no, you shouldn't play this anymore. I'm gonna do that.
As well as infinite loading screens. And when I was using one of my other horses during the live stream, there was a weird glitch going on with the Black Arabian. I don't know if it's just me, maybe other people are experiencing it, but it was very annoying. And there was like this weird shadow box that was on the ground. It looked terrible. So obviously, right off the bat, Naturalist role has issues to go with the previous problems and quote-unquote features. Yeah, so the elephant gun. Some things I'll talk about while we're trying to find an animal to shoot is that, like I mentioned, even going up against like an elk, and some people have one-shotted a grizzly bear, a 3-star grizzly bear with this gun, it still ruins the pelt. Now, some would make the argument that the elephant gun is only really meant for legendary animals. But I've had quite a few people tell me that they still have the same issue, whether they're using like the rolling block or the Carcano sniper rifles or a bolt action rifle or the elephant gun. It takes quite a few shots to take down a legendary animal. So that's another issue. Plus, you're very limited where you can get ammo for the elephant gun. And I think the only place you can go is to Gus, who is the new trapper in Red Dead Online. No, he's not the friendly trapper from the north. In Red Dead Redemption 2, we have a different guy. His name is Gus. We will get to him in just a moment. All right, so there's the 3-star. All right, so we hit it. So it actually worked that time. But let's look at the damage that was done. So with a rifle, it took this 3-star pronghorn and turned it into a 1-star right before our very eyes. So that seems to be happening with almost any animal in the game right now, whether it's a pronghorn, a deer, a goat, if you can actually hit the goat, because I tried to shoot a goat like 3 times during the live stream, and all 3 times I missed for some reason with the elephant gun, and I was like within like firing range, and if I was using the bolt action, I would have hit it with no effort, no problem. But it doesn't really seem to matter what you're shooting at, from a pronghorn to a grizzly bear and perhaps a buffalo in a minute. There seems to be a little bit of an issue with the elephant gun causing damage to 3-star pelts and knocking them down to 1-star even if you've only hit the animal once. So we have 2 new characters introduced through the Naturalist role. One is this guy, Gus. He is the Red Dead Online equivalent of the Trapper. And for 25 bars of gold, you can do the Naturalist role. And I guess you could say one of the positives of the Naturalist role is if you drop the 25 bars of gold, you technically get additional butcher stands scattered across Red Dead Online, which could serve for hunters out there. And he also gives you some items for legendary animals. So legendary animals have been added to Red Dead Online, and we get a unique legendary map you can look at. And I think they're going to update this every week, so I guess that's a positive. But the problem is, because we're all in one lobby type, everybody's going after these animals, and you could be all the way up in Amberino like I was during my Tuesday live stream trying to get the goat, and other players are also trying to get the goat. And it really is a first-come, first-serve scenario. So whoever gets the legendary animal first, they win the day. Now, the legendary animals, in order to notify you that one's nearby, on the mini-map, you'll have like a golden question mark appear. Then you'll see the animal once you get close enough. It's free aim only, so you have to use, I would advise like a sniper rifle, and it does take quite a few shots to take down the legendary animal, from a fox in Lemoyne to the legendary wolf, which I spent a good amount of time trying to find up in the snow south of Coulter, but to no avail, which means that probably somebody else came by earlier and got the legendary wolf. And there could also be a cooldown period because of the possibility that if you get a legendary animal, maybe, just maybe, it implies that you have to wait a while before you get another legendary animal. But Gus is found in several spots throughout the game. And once again, to a positive, he does serve as kind of like a new butcher for hunts. So he has one like right in between Armadillo and Tumbleweed, as well as over here in Tall Trees by Rig Station. He has one all the way over here out in Big Valley, just north of Owangila. He has a few other spots as well, just south of Ansburg. So it's nice to have I guess you could say, a butcher's table like right there. And I think that's all of his locations. If I'm missing one, I'm blind. But there is another character that they also added to Red Dead Online, thanks to the Naturalist role. We're going to go see her right now. So for those of you that have grown to disdain Marcel from the Moonshiner update, you probably asked yourself, how could Rockstar add a character less likable than Marcel? This is Harriet. Now don't let her looks deceive you. She's crazy. She clearly needs a bath, and she has issues. And she is the other half of this update, which has kind of like a duality to it, if you will. So half the update is about Gus, who is, I guess you could say, a hunter, a trapper, and he does the legendary bounties for you. The other half is kind of anti-hunting, where you're supposed to go out and get photos and samples of animals and save animals on behalf of Harriet here. And apparently, if you kill an animal from across the map, she will be unhappy with you. Because somehow Harriet we'll find out that you, even though you're on the other side of the map and you just killed a deer or a buffalo or a bear or a wolf, somehow she knows about this. And her ramblings are just outright top-notch crazy town. So this is Harriet, and she's the one who does whatever she does with the naturalist role. I still really don't get it. It doesn't really seem that interesting to me personally. I find her to be a little ridiculous.
Let me see what you've collected.
You've got some nerve. You think that I wouldn't find out? You're no better than that savage Macmillan.
So this is Harriet Davenport. The weirdest, craziest, probably the worst character in Reddit online. I don't know. I mean, it's either Harriet or the boy. I can't decide. But, I mean, I guess Marcel's likable now, so hooray. So good for Marcel. You finally have a character in the game that I dislike even more than Marcel, and that's Harriet. So let's talk about the role, since we got the two main characters that you interact with now. And that kind of leads us to the duality of this role. It's kind of like a Frankenstein monster. It's like Rockstar had two separate ideas for roles, but they couldn't really make either idea on its own work. And so they decided to, I guess, stitch them together, patch them together, sew them together, weld them together into the quote-unquote naturalist role. It has a very weird duality to it, and I really don't think it works so well, because if you hunt too much, and by the way, one of the ways that you make money in the game is through the trader role, and the trader role does require hunting. So if you're just trying to hunt for crypts and stack up your, I guess, your trader role, then Harriet is not going to be happy about that, even if Harriet is nowhere near your camp. So, for example, even though she's like over here, her closest location, she has 3 locations, by the way. Here, along the lower Montana River, just north of McFarland, and then north of Strawberry. This is, I think, her primary location. And then she also has a location down in the bayou. But still, I mean, from this distance, she shouldn't be able to know what the hell I'm doing, unless she's talking to her herbivore cougar friend. Yes, she apparently has a cougar friend that likes to eat berries, and that is a vegetarian. Okay, that makes sense, because I thought big cats were carnivores. I learned something new today. Thank you, Harriet, for your infinite knowledge and wisdom about nature. So, let's conduct a little test while we are ranting about this update. So, the weapons could have been better, especially since apparently the elephant gun, which if we find a 3-star buffalo, we're definitely going to test it during the rant, just to show you the damage it actually does. And you think that this thing, since it's obviously meant to be for, I guess, a hunting role, would work similar to the bolt action in order to ensure that a 3-star animal, as long as it's 1 shot, 1 kill, is dropped while the pelt quality of the animal is preserved at 3 stars. If, once again, we're able to find any buffalo. If we find a 3-star deer or something, I will shoot that as well. So this freak of nature naturalist role is the best that Rockstar could come up with post Moonshiner over the past several months. Now, I realize that we've had a bug, we've had the pandemic that's caused issues and delays and a lot of worse things, like people have died, people have gotten sick, people have lost their jobs, the economy has been wrecked. But this is the role that we were waiting for these past few months. The naturalist role. Which is basically, like I mentioned, it's like a Frankenstein's monster, if you will. Perfectly good 3-star. And 1 shot knocked it down to a 1-star. So that worked out really well for the elephant gun. Makes it basically useless. Even for a PvP weapon, I would say this thing is useless, because it's only like 2 rounds you're going to be able to use on it. So, 2 roles basically are 2 half of ideas of roles. Somehow they tried to stitch it together it doesn't really work because you kind of have to do one or the other. And apparently, from what I've been told, it's very slow to rank up the Naturalist role. It might be the slowest role to rank up in the game, and I feel like that's been done deliberately by design. Okay, let's find ourselves a 3-star buffalo. Can we find a 3-star buffalo? Normally, I don't like shooting the buffalo because, you know, manifest destiny and all that. But, well, let's find a 3-star. Or one of you 3 stars. Well, we could even just test with, I guess, a 2-star. But, I mean, the animal spawns are working for now, but I fear like the next hotfix, our patch will probably break the animal spawns again. So, I feel like enjoy it while it lasts. Let's see, that's a 1-star. So, we may just have to make do of a 2-star to conduct our test. One of you's a 2-star. Please step up. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's try you. Alright, so it does knock down the buffalo with no problem, but I think we're going to see an issue here. As you can tell, with one shot, it should have remained a 2-star, not a 1-star. So I think it wouldn't have mattered if it was a 3-star bison or a 2-star bison either way. Just like with the pronghorn, with the deer, with grizzlies, with any other animal in the game, even the biggest animal in the game, which I would say is the bison that you can hunt, it does the same thing. It knocks it down to 1-star. It ruins the pelt. I don't know if that's done by design or if it's unintentional, but if it's doing that to the biggest animal in the game, then what is really the point of the elephant gun? So I'm going to take this back to camp, sell it to Crips. I'm sure Harriet's really mad at me right now. I've shot a buffalo and a pronghorn. And to be honest, I really don't get the sampling. A lot of people have been complaining about the sampling and the trying to use the crappy advanced camera, which we haven't even got to yet, the advanced camera. Instead of just simply updating the current camera, which is kind of crap, which they could have done. They could have just updated that one because it's not very good. They make us pay an additional $500 for the quote-unquote advanced camera. They could have also given us the Rockstar editor, just like with GTA Online. They could have given us that for Red Dead Online, but they didn't. And a lot of people have been trying out the advanced camera, and most people, including myself, aren't exactly wowed by it. Bear in mind, $500 for a camera in 1898. That's the time period of Red Dead Online, 1898. And we paid $500+ for a camera. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I can't wait for Man vs. History to do a video about camera prices. Because I think there's a bit of an inflation there between the advanced camera price and what cameras from Kodak costed back in 1898. Yes, that was a thing back in the 1890s. Alright, so we'll go ahead and give these to Crips. Because I don't see the point in wasting them or giving these to Gus. I mean, he'll pay you for them, but I'd rather just put it towards the trader roll. Might as well while we still have animal spawns in the game. So I got all that nonsense donated. So where are we going to go next, kids? Where are we going to go? So a lot of the clothing items, we won't go over the clothing items. I did in the live stream for the new role. Don't look very good. A lot of the items for the new role aren't very impressive. So we went over the weapons. We went over the 2 new characters, the price tag, 25 bars of gold, and the fact that Harriet's now probably the least liked character in Red Dead Online. She has taken the crown from Marcel. That's amazing. Of course, Marcel took the crown from, Crips. So I guess it was only a matter of time before somebody else was going to come along to be even more annoying than Marcel. So congratulations, Harriet. So along with all these roles, we get a role horse. And this is an issue I have ranted about quite a few times, and we will do so again. And if I miss anything, I do sincerely apologize. I'm trying to think of everything that we have missed. All right, so buy horse. The role horses are the same. So the new horse is the Gypsy Cob. And overall, I was comparing its stats and its cores. Even for the top tier Gypsy Cobs, it's not very impressive. I hope that this is a brave horse, because that might be the only saving grace that this horse has. And once again, it's the same issue with other role horses. You cannot pick the coat you want to go with the top tier stats. So these are the top 2 stats, along with the amount for the tokens. The tokens completely pointless. I don't see the point of tokens. Price tag $950. Once you reach rank 20 naturalist role, these 2 versions of the Gypsy Cob will unlock for you to purchase. And it's the same premise here. The mid tier have lower cores and stats, and the worst cores and stats are these 2. And this is something that we've asked Rockstar for, is the ability to separate the coat from the stats. Therefore, you could have the top tier rank 20 stats and core for the Gypsy Cob, but you would have, instead of 2 pelts to pick from, you would have 4 pelts to pick from. This is a problem that has been around since the introduction of the roles, with the Bounty Hunter, the Trader role, the Collector role, the Moonshiner role. All those horses are the same, from the Roadster to the Claude to the Criollo to the Breton. All of them have the same problem. You'll find a coat that you like, but it happens to be of the low tier variant, so it's kind of a waste of money because you're not getting the best quality stat and core wise from that specific breed, and the Gypsy Cob is no exception. So that is definitely another issue I have with the Naturalist role. It's yet another prime example of how Rockstar obviously didn't listen to us, even though they claimed they did, and they claimed to fix 250 bugs, but we still get disconnects, we still get infinite loading screens, and at the end of my live stream on Tuesday, when I was doing one of the Pulcher free roam modes, because this is a free roam mode that Harriet does for you, or you do for her, where you go and you free some animals and you kill some poachers. Sometimes it's bears you have to free, sometimes it's deer. And I took out the first wave of poachers, I freed the deer, and I sat there waiting for the second wave of poachers to show up. They never show up. The time runs out, and the mission ends up being a failure. And I don't get any XP, I don't get anything at all to go towards the Naturalist role for my trouble. So that's yet another awesome feature that they've added to the game, courtesy of the Naturalist role. And I was trying to avoid this guy. Let's see how this works on him. Well, at least it's a nice one-shot. What else do I have to say about this? I feel like the roles have been a bad idea. An interesting experiment by Rockstar. But if after 7 months since the Moonshiner update, the best they can do is this weird Frankenstein of a role known as the Naturalist role, if this is the best that they can do, then maybe it's time to scrap the role idea altogether. And they need to redo the horses to where, A, you can actually sell the horses, because, once again, you can't sell horses. You can only discard horses you no longer want. They did not add any new stall space, which is another issue people are complaining about. There is no new property that you can purchase. So a lot of people were kind of hoping with the Naturalist role, we'd at the very least get like a cabin, an apartment, a house, or something we could actually buy and have some customization. Maybe some other items inside, like a stove for cooking, crafting. Let's see, like a bed, a wardrobe, a weapons locker, maybe a fast travel map, some other interior customization options. Maybe like the ability to put some legendary trophies in the house or the cabin. No, we didn't get that. We didn't even get a new camp theme for this role. Of course, we didn't get a camp theme update for the previous role. So, Moonshiner role, there was no camp theme. And for Naturalist role, once again, no camp theme. So Rockstar's completely abandoned the camp themes. Oh, there is a mini camp that you now can use, but some people are already complaining about that. It's very limited, and there's select spawn points where you can use it at. So I really don't know if the mini camp is even worth using. I did do a camp guide, so you guys could always find the various camps that are in and around the map of Red Dead Online if you ever need a campfire for cooking or crafting purposes. So what else do I think? I think that they should abandon the role ideas. I think it was an exercise in failure. I think that they should focus on giving us something more exciting, more fun, like a heist update, like many of us have wanted, like my friend Kane and a few others, where we could do like small time and big time bank robberies, train robberies, stagecoach robberies, riverboat robberies. Maybe add a riverboat casino eventually. An outlaw role, a lawman role would be kind of cool to expand the bounty hunter role. So it feels like the roles started off good enough with the Frontier Pursuits update, which is the best update we've had so far in Red Dead Online about a year ago. That introduced 3 roles, so that was the thing they did right. The mistake they made with Moonshiners was just 1 role. They made the same mistake again with the Naturalist role. I mean, you could call this like 2 half roles, half-assed combined into 1 role with the Naturalist role. It's not very good. It, overall, in my opinion, is a disappointment, and it's sad that we've waited 7 months for this. So, look, that shot clearly should have hit, but it didn't. Well, at least that shot hit. So, let's see what we did with this 3-star. So, once again, perfect weapon to use for hunting the elephant gun. Especially if you want to take a perfectly good 3-star and turn it into a 1-star. Fantastic. Awesome. Well done, Rockstar. Final thoughts is that this game is struggling to survive right now, especially over the past 7 months since the last update. The community has been bleeding, and it has felt like Rockstar has neglected this game. They claim that they fixed a whole bunch of stuff, even though we still, like I mentioned, disconnect issues, infinite loading screen issues, a few other problems have been, once again, resurfacing. And I think it's only a matter of time before the animal spawns that we are enjoying very briefly in the Naturalist role will be undone through a future patch or hotfix. So enjoy the animal spawns while they last. And finally, one other thing that they did not give us that we wanted that would have made absolute sense, especially with the legendary animal role, the ability to hunt legendary animals, is, I don't know, different lobby types. As I pointed out before, Red Dead Redemption Multiplayer has different lobby types, Grand Theft Auto Online has different lobby types, but Red Dead Online does not. And that really does screw you over whenever you're trying to get a legendary animal when somebody else has already came in and gotten the legendary fox or legendary wolf or legendary elk or legendary buck or legendary javelina, boar, etc. So it kind of defeats the purpose of going after legendary animals. Plus, the payout isn't really good for all the trouble that you get. And you don't really get much Naturalist role XP by getting the legendary animal. Now, there is some, I guess, items that you can unlock by skinning the legendary animals. But you still have to pay cash for those items anyway. Skin the legendary animal, you take it to Gus at one of his locations. It'll unlock certain items, but you still have to pay cash on top of that. And I think there's also like 3 horse masks that are tied into it as well. And that's the problem. They tie everything into these roles that a lot of us don't really care about. Instead of simply just releasing content for the sake of releasing content. Release horses for the sake of releasing horses. Give us more stable space. Give us the ability to sell horses. Give us different lobby types. And that would also help with the animal spawn issue because I'm sure that's going to come back eventually. It's nice, like I mentioned, that we still have animals in Red Dead Online. But I feel like it's only a matter of time before that goes away. Alright, so here's the 3-star. Okay, so final test with the elephant gun in this rant video. Did the elephant gun turn this 3-star bison, which y'all saw was a 3-star, into a 1-star? The answer is yes. Awesome. So once again, just like with that guest list in the Moonshine Shack, the elephant gun, like most of this update, is pretty much pointless. And Rockstar, I don't know what you got planned for the end of the year. I hope it's way better than this, because as of right now, I think a lot of people are frustrated with the Naturalist role, and this role's only been out for like a day or two. It's a day or two old, and already a lot of people within the community are not enjoying it at all. That is a very bad sign. If there is one positive, besides the animal spawn locations and multiple butcher tables across the map now, only for the low price of 25 bars of gold to access them, and the legendary animals that you might be unless somebody else came in before you, or Griefer waiting to kill you at the specific legendary animal spawn locations. The animal spawns themselves is probably the only real positive to this so-called update. And that probably won't last. Reddit Online, unfortunately, is continuing to die. And I feel like at the end of the day, the fault lies with the decision makers at Rockstar Games, who continue to make bad choices for Red Dead Online. Instead of simply just giving us new horses, because there's a variety of horses even in story mode that they could give us. They could give us our own version of Buell, our own version of Baylock, our own version of the Count, the Brindle Arabian, the Rose Grey Arabian, a few other horses. They could add stuff from Undead Nightmare, like the Horses of the Apocalypse. They could do a variety of things, as we've mentioned. But no, over the past 7-month period, the so-called Naturalist role is the best that they could come up with. And from the role itself, or the 2-in-1 roles, to how annoying Harriet is, as well as the uselessness of the advanced camera and how overly priced it is, along with the elephant gun ruining pelts when it normally shouldn't, because it's supposed to be a hunting rifle, to all the other nonsense and issues. Even Outlaw Pass 3, which I did a thoughts video of previously, I would say that the Naturalist role is unfortunately taking the crown as the worst update in Red Dead Online thus far, since it came out of beta. So if I was to rank these three, first place goes to Frontier Pursuits, second place to Moonshiners, third place to the Naturalist role. In my opinion, if Rockstar continues down this course, Red Dead Online will be dead, Jim, by the end of the year. Now here's hoping, because I always like to have a small glimmer of hope, even in the year 2020, that maybe, just maybe, Rockstar will turn things around by the December update, because I guess that's when the next update is dropping. But if the way things are going now, and if the next update is just one role and it's in the same ballpark as the Naturalist role, unfortunately, I feel like Red Dead Online will be dead going into 2021. I hope not. A lot of changes need to be made to the game. Rockstar claims that they're listening to the community, but it's one thing to talk, like they did Friday in their newswire, but it's another thing to walk. And from what I've seen from the Naturalist role update, clearly Rockstar is not walking the walk. Unless by walking the walk, they're actually, I don't know, walking us towards a cliff.